All right, welcome into the Bike Meat Podcast. You guys know the drill by now. If you are a subscriber, I'm John Lopez, and we have a great guest for you today. In the Bike Meat Podcast, we try to cover everything there is to cover in the barbecue industry, in the grilling industry, and in the cooking and chef industry. If you want to subscribe to the podcast, you can subscribe wherever you get your podcast. It's on all platforms, but we always emphasize going to Podbean first. Podbean is where we host the podcast, and you can get every episode we've ever had. If you're interested in something that Aaron Franklin has talked about, or the CEO of, let's say, Traeger Grills, or the Big Green Egg, or Leonard Botello from Truth, all the big ones, Pinkerton, all of them have been here, and really excited about today's show. So it's brought to you every week, of course, by Texas Star Grill Shop, and this is one that, frankly, a lot of times I'll reach out, I'll look at some of my contacts and sort of some of the people I know in the industry and say, hey, I want to do a podcast on this or that. And I've never really done a podcast with someone who is deep involved with I guess I should technically call it, you correct me if I'm wrong here, Chef. I'll introduce you in just a second. The private chef industry. I know you do more than that, but I'll start with that. And that is talking about what private chefs have to go through. It can be quite challenging. We have Chef Adrian Cousins, and I know nearby probably is Dominique, who, all due respect, Adrian is probably the brains behind the operation at some level. But
yeah,
glad to have you on, my man.
Good to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. So I talked about how a lot of times I reach out to people I know in the industry, and getting to cross paths with you was really something a happenstance almost. My wife was doing a big event at Good Shepherd School in Kingwood, and you were recommended, of course, by someone, I forget exactly who, and I said that would be a great podcast. So we touched base, and here we are, and it is the private chef. What do you call yourself? I want to make sure I can get it right.
So I am a private chef as well as a caterer. So we do anything and everything food related. So there's not a lot that we mark out.
Mm-hmm. No, look, I'm a big fan of betting on yourself. I always talk about that, and whether it's this podcast or the Bite Me Fishing podcast or my OG sauce, the barbecue sauce I do, you know what? Just bet on yourself and see what you can do. But that is a brutal industry. How did it come about that you said, and I know you've worked in some restaurants in the past, if I'm remembering that correctly, but how did you and Dominique decide to go out on your own and do this particular arm?
So it all actually started in culinary school. I was in culinary school and we had to do a project, and I got a great grade on my project. So I just decided to use that business model and go ahead and launch our business now, in-house chefs. So in culinary school, it's called a little bit something different, but I took that same model and ran with it, and that's what we do to this day.
And where were you in culinary school?
I went to the Culinary Institute of Lenote. It's right off of 45 in Houston.
Okay.
It's a based culinary school.
All right. And so, obviously there are challenges. I haven't met a chef or a pit master yet that hasn't had to rub a couple of nickels together here and there at some level, at some point. So how was that overcoming it and having the confidence that you can build this thing?
Well, we do face a lot of challenges, and just like you said, you just have to put your best foot forward and move. And it's a lot of nickel rubbing.
A lot of nickel rubbing, not a couple of nickels, a lot of nickel rubbing.
Yeah, with the challenge in food costs and the fact that we don't have a set service, we provide a broad range in the cuisine world. So we do a lot of catering to the clientele, whether it's the vast majority of cuisine and trying to get people's needs met and wants. So we're not married to a menu.
Yeah.
So we don't say a lot of no's. We do a lot of accommodating, whether it's say for instance, we had a wedding where there was a husband from Nigeria and the wife was from Idaho, and they wanted kind of a mix of American Idaho with Nigerian flavors, and yeah, we.
All right, I got to stop you there. I got to know what you made. A mix of Idaho. I'm sure potatoes were involved.
Yeah, we
and
did a lot of
Nigeria.
potatoes.
What did you put together?
That one there, I believe we did stations. We did stations. So we did the jollof. We did which is the base for jambalaya. We did what was it? Curry station. We had Idaho. We did what was it? Shepherd's pie. We did
okay. So you pulled it off.
Oh yeah. We had a lot of fun with it too.
I'm sure you did. Well, and that leads to a couple of things that I think are unique to what you do. The first one is you always want to be creative in this industry. Boy, when you don't say no, a lot of things are thrown into your lap that maybe you're either more familiar with or not as familiar with, and you have to use your creativity. That's got to kind of keep you interested in things, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, yes, and that's what I like. I really like making, and I get the question a lot. What is your favorite thing to make? I like to make something that I never made before. I like a challenge. I like to go and read up and do research on something, a dish or a cuisine, and try my best stab at it. Sometimes it turns out great. Sometimes it don't. And I would like to elaborate more on my knowledge and on my, what do you call it? The wormhole. I dive into the wormhole and try to fill myself with any type of knowledge I can to get the best result that I can.
Yeah, and you kind of got to be light on your feet. I know when I said hello the other night at the event, you were sort of rubbing your forehead like, when I planned to make this whole hog and they didn't give me all the right pieces, and you have to adjust as you go along. First of all, share that story of the event that I'm talking about where we chatted, and some of the things where you have to be light on your feet in this industry.
Yes, so we did a event for the Good Shepherd School, and it was supposed to be a whole hog. So what happened was I went to go pick up the whole hog, and I went to a pig processing facility here in Houston. Well, it was right outside of Houston, and they're experts. So I'm thinking that they have down packed their process and they know what they're doing. So I just rolled up and I signed my receipt. I read on the receipt it said whole hog. They loaded me up, put it in my cooler, and I just took their word for it, went and had it unloaded. The next day I go to get my smoker ready and pull everything out, and I open the cooler and there's nothing but pork loins in there, no hog. The receipt said whole hog and everything, and I trusted them. And the day of, it's about 2:00 in the morning, I go to pull everything out to get it rub the seasonings on there and get it smoked, and there's no hog. So I then called my trusty partner, my wife, and let her know the situation. And she's a trooper. She gets up and tell me where to go and when, and I give her the information, and she takes off at 6:00 in the morning to get there, which is an hour and a half away. The event is 5:00 that same day. So I'm in a struggle trying to get everything situated and get everything that I promised the client to deliver. So we end up getting a hog that was bigger than what we what we expected. And as you see, that I didn't have enough time to smoke it, so I had to be light on my feet and figure out how can I get this done efficiently. And so I went ahead and did what I had to do. We had a great turnout, and everybody loved everything that was there. So
yeah, I can vouch. It was delicious, and so that's just one of the many things that happens, in that industry. The other thing that is interesting to me is there's got to be a lot of advantages, and you just touched on a couple of them. Whether it's being so unique in the approach and the menu, et cetera, and being able to be creative. But there's also some disadvantages, I would guess, in terms of being the private chef, I guess is what I'll be calling it. What are some of those that you really have to always kind of jump hurdles?
I would say one thing is the word weddings. So
Oh no, I got to
Bridezilla,
deal with brides and moms.
yes, Bridezilla is
Is real.
an actual thing. Yes, and the changing of ideals
Mm-hmm.
for a wedding at the last minute is a thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just being able to adjust. I do a lot of adjusting. We do a lot
Yeah.
of uh, catering to whatever the client needs. So and we try not to say no. So
Yeah.
we do what we can and do it when we can to better serve our clients. So I'm grateful for what we do. I know that with everything that we do, there is a potential of something going wrong. So it's just knowing what and how to remediate those
Mm-hmm.
situations best without letting it show on your face, without letting it be seen by your client as well.
I'm telling you what, I'm sure it keeps you sharp because I've said in the past whenever I've done big events, I just in my mind I tell myself, okay, something's going to go wrong, something's not going to go as planned. Hopefully, it's not anything big, but whether it's big or small, let's just adapt and adjust. I mean
Yes.
that keeps you sharp, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, and learn to roll with those punches.
Yeah. So, do you have any good examples? Obviously, we're not going to mention any names of a bridezilla moment where you had to really be on the top of your game.
Oh man, there was one wedding that we had that they were kind of on a budget and they didn't want to pay.
Hmm.
They didn't want to give. They're just running tight. So I
Yeah.
had to explain that you're not going to find too many caterers willing to do a wedding for $15 to $20 a person
Yeah.
because it's tight. So we got to the day of the wedding and they somehow in translation of the contracts they forgot that they were providing forks,
Oh
plates,
no.
cups, and all of the stuff needed for a wedding. So
Yeah.
um and that was one of the things that they took off. They took off
Hmm.
the that and they were supposed to supply it
Provided.
the
Yeah.
day of. So um we were able to go out and I always keep these things on hand anyway. So
Hmm.
I always roll with these extra because we buy in bulk, so you
Yeah.
never know when you need it. So we were able to go ahead and deliver that and get that taken care of.
Got
At
plenty of food,
the,
just nothing to eat it with.
yes, exactly.
The other thing that I noticed, just kind of in seeing what you're doing, you guys truly like do it all. Like you come in to empty tables and chairs,
Hmm.
and you leave to empty tables and chairs. I mean that's something that a lot of at a restaurant there's a lot of people that do that. What are the challenges there? I know you have people who help, but like you come in from the moment of not just sourcing what you're going to be making, but creating the menu, being creative, and then all the way through the meal to making that place look exactly how it was when you left. I mean, when you got there, and that's got to be something that a lot of people just don't want to sign up for.
Oh yeah. It's definitely challenging, especially when you have vendors. So another instance, we had
Hmm.
a wedding at a venue that the day of everything seemed to be fine, but the day of
Hmm.
there was something not communicated to the people that was running the venue, and we're trying to get in and set up, and we have the delivery from our vendor that supplies the tables, chairs, and
Hmm.
plates and whatnot, and they would not let us in.
Hmm.
So we have a lot of at the time we had um, 1099 employees come in to give their time to help set up, and we're
Hmm.
sitting outside of the venue with all of the tables, chairs, and I believe we had a casino table and a bar set up there as well
Hmm.
that was outside and we couldn't get in. So
Hmm.
um, then I let the dogs out and I let my wife give the call to Dominique, my business partner, and she'll go out and handle those things. So
Hmm.
we were able to get somebody, to let us in and get set up, and then
Right. Yeah.
we went from there.
What about sourcing? That's something that if you are in a restaurant or major catering company, when you're sourcing, you kind of go back to the same places. I know you use probably a lot of the same places, but when the menu changes at the drop of a hat, the sourcing has got to be something that you really have to wrestle with.
Oh yeah. So with that, so if you see my phone, I
Mm,
have a list of apps that I cycle through, whether
mhm,
it's HEB, Restaurant Depot,
mhm,
uh, Gordon's Food. So I source everything that I'm buying through, and I check because I got to get the best price. Being that
mhm.
we do offer the service that we do, we're not stuck and married to a menu. I
Yeah.
have to have those things at my beck and call, so I can
Mhm,
price check and source through that. Now, when it comes to rentals, we do a lot of renting and picking up, or sometimes we get the delivery service. So
sure.
we just have a team that helps with that, and
Mhm.
they do a lot of price checking as well to help me out as well.
Yeah. The thing that would drive me nuts, because I do my stuff here, but certainly not to the level that you do. But nevertheless, I don't think I could adapt to kitchens. Like I have to have my kitchen, my outdoor kitchen. I know where everything is. I have everything set up. I know the temperatures of the flames. I know the temperature of the smoker. I know, where the hot spots are on particular pits and such. You don't have that advantage. I mean,
No.
I mean, where how does that play out? Because not only are you doing all these other things that we've talking about, you really a lot of times I'm guessing don't even know the kitchen. You have to kind of learn it on the fly.
Right, and that goes into another aspect of what we do. So I do a lot of meal prep for clients on a weekly basis. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a repeated cycle where I'm going into clients' homes and I'm cooking for the week. And each kitchen is different. And I do run into this situation where I get uh, placements confused, or I'm looking
Mm-hmm.
and so that's a real thing. And learning the different ovens and the hot spots of the
Yeah.
ovens and the burners, and what eye is the hot burner and what eye you got to kind of work with. And that's a real challenge. But uh once you get in there and you find out, you know
Mm-hmm.
you get your rhythm in there, you kind of, no matter what kitchen you go in, it's your domain, it's my domain, so I make that my home and I make
Yeah.
that my kitchen for the day. And I can, it might take me a couple times to get used to, but I eventually get, you know my rhythm going, and nothing can
Yeah.
stop me there. So
Yeah. Yeah. That would drive me nuts. That would drive me absolutely nuts. Now you mentioned the private clients, and I'm glad you did because I wanted to get into that. I don't know how many you deal with, but let's say it's uh, a, a, a personality, a celebrity, an athlete. A lot of these have or not, or just someone who has very particular needs, and that's not just in terms of flavors and things they enjoy to eat or want to eat, but also health benefits, health concerns, particular diet. How does again? That just seems so crazy to me that you have to make all these adjustments on the fly.
oh yeah, so that's one thing that we do. So I predominantly cook with the anti-inflammatory mindset, being that we
Hmm.
have a nonprofit. And I'm not sure if you heard of the Phoenix Journey, but that's our nonprofit for autoimmune diseases.
Hmm.
We do a lot of um, cooking to heal.
Hmm.
So cooking to and putting into our body, putting into your body what is
Yeah.
actually supposed to be in there. That's void of the preservatives. That's void of the nut and seed oils. That's void of the highly processed and highly treated flours
Hmm.
and sugars and whatnot. So um, with that as a basis, we're already
Yeah.
at starting point of cooking to help remediate a lot of the diseases and a lot of the ailments that people are facing these days.
Yeah. Well, and that's another aspect of your industry, your business. I notice you emphasize all natural. Explain. I'm sure that's part of it, but explain what a good all natural diet. Suppose you go into someone's house tomorrow for the first time, and you want to emphasize that they have particular tastes. What is an all natural chef, private chef, really emphasizing for their clients?
Oh, so I'm going in there with the mindset of getting rid of everything that's processed, everything that's filled with fillers, that has preservatives.
Hmm.
And like I said, We get rid of the soy, the vegetable nut and seed oils, the processed flours, the sugars, and I don't only get rid of those. I give replacements that's better for you. I like to give the experience of having a delicious meal, having the comfort food, having everything that you're used to having, but just making changes in the ingredients and letting you see that you can have those fulfilling foods without poisoning yourself, without the detriment that may be caused to you later on down the line.
Yeah. And that's interesting. A lot of people, I'm sure a lot of our listeners, when they hear this podcast, are going to be saying, yeah, right. When people say all natural and getting rid of this and getting rid of that, immediately a lot of people start thinking, well, that's going to be restrictive, or it's not going to taste as good, or I'm not going to be able to eat some of the things I enjoy eating. Can you hit those 3 points? It's restrictive. It's not going to be, taste good, and I'm not going to be able to eat the things I'm used to eating. Those are all fallacies.
Oh no, that those are fallacies. You can absolutely have a great. Hey, just ask my wife. She's been diagnosed with MS 3 years ago. So 3 years ago, she's been diagnosed with MS. She's been off of meds. We've been treating it through changing the things that she's eating, that she's putting in her body. We just came out with a cookbook, actually.
Okay, what is it? So we can share it.
The Phoenix Journey, Volume 1. I believe I have a copy somewhere.
Well, I'll mention it and I'll post it.
Yes, I'll show you guys. So, and it's full of it's a starter book. It's full of a lot of our
there we go,
that we have there.
So if I tell you, hey, listen, Adrian, I really like to eat beef, or I like the occasional fried chicken, are you going to tell me no way?
No. We can absolutely do fried chicken. I do fried fish. I do fried okra. Now, how I fry it is a little different. Sometimes I would like to fry it in the pot with a little bit of avocado oil.
Okay.
Or I air fry it. I use the air fryer a lot, and just switching out those flours, getting rid of that processed flour. We can use a little bit of cassava flour. There's a list of things that you can switch out and still complete the results that you're looking for and be fulfilled with flavor. And we have a thing. I have a saying. I like to fill you up with flavor, because you can have all those flavorful things. You can have all those flavorful dishes, and a lot of people don't know you can just make these changes in ingredients and still be fulfilled. So I like to, spread the knowledge that I have and the simple changes that I can, or if not, just do it for you. I'll just come in and do it for you, and you can see for yourself that, man, this chicken is still crispy, it's flavorful. This okra is crunchy. We can still do the gumbos, the etouffees. We can have the whatever it is. There's a way to do it. If there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
And well, for all of those ways.
Yeah. I'd like to recommend, again, just so people know, I would recommend that a lot of things that you're talking about are probably in that book. It's the Phoenix Journey, Volume 1. And go check it out. Do you have a website, inhousechef.com?
Yes, inhousechef.com, and then the phoenixjourney.org.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about, again, we've talked about some of the unexpected challenges, some of the dietary hurdles, but your menus do have to stand out. Your menus do have to stand out if someone's coming in, like an event we're talking about, or a wedding or whatever. Do you ever give them a baseline of some of the things that you generally know well and can do well, or is it just an open palette? They tell you.
Oh yeah, it's an open palette. Some clients, they come in and they want me to create everything for them, create the menu and whatnot. But we have some that come and they know what they want. I'm gonna go back to the wedding conversation we had earlier. So we had a couple that met at a burger place in Austin.
Okay.
And they wanted us to recreate this burger place, and I can't remember the name, but they're known for having an array of different pickles that they had.
Okay.
So we catered to that. Um,
You
so
came up with all those?
I'm open. I'm sorry.
You came up with all those? All
Not
those?
all of them. We did a great amount of pickles, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I like to I, I'm a fan of food. I'm gonna just say
Mm-hmm.
that I'm a fan of food, and I don't like to be tied into a box.
Yeah.
So I would offer, and I'll let them know how we cook when it comes to cooking anti-inflammatory.
Yeah.
But some people aren't really, they don't really care, so they just want what they want. So I'm open to whatever they're open to,
Yeah.
and I like to create, and I give them the opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to see what I do. If not, then I'll give them what they want as well.
Sure. So where did that aha moment come that this is what you wanted to do? We talked about how you got into it, but so many chefs, and I'm talking big names, that we've had on here on this podcast, they didn't really start out in this industry, whether it's barbecue, or chef or, yeah, or whatever it is. There was always another job first, and then
Oh yeah.
it just kept picking at them. They just kept picking. I love this. I love this. I want to do it. And then they take the leap. Are you similar?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So I grew up in the kitchen cooking with my grandmother and my
Mm-hmm.
mom uh, through various holidays, and I originally went to school to be a firefighter.
Okay.
I went to school to be a firefighter in Toledo, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
What happened is college life gets to you,
You're
and
telling me.
then
You're telling me.
college life gets to you, and going to class with hangovers are not conducive. It
Yeah.
is not conducive to what you're trying to do. So later on down the line, I find myself here in Houston, Texas, working in a warehouse, and I'm still cooking for different events with family
Mhm.
gatherings, with people coming over to the house. I'm still cooking. So I had a conversation with my brother-in-law, and I'm telling him I don't like what I'm doing. I don't
Mhm.
feel fulfilled. So he then goes and asks me a simple question: what is it that you can do and that you can do without it feeling like work?
Yeah.
Light bulb.
Yeah.
I cook. So
Mhm.
then and there, I decided that I was going to go to culinary school to be a chef. And funny thing is, I told my wife, and she thought
Mhm.
it was the dumbest idea in the world. She laughed at me. She joked, and she thought it was the dumbest idea in the world. But
Mhm.
she's seen my passion behind it, and you know,
Yeah.
followed and just pushed me on from there.
Yeah, and we don't have Dominique on the podcast right now, but I do want you to mention like the partnership seems to be hand in glove because she has that marketing background, she has that the ability
Yes.
to run the business. So what is it that she really sort of brings every day?
Oh man, what doesn't she bring? What doesn't she bring? She brings that marketing skill, that business mindset, that um pretty much everything. She's organized. She's
Mhm.
a great partner. She's a great motivator.
Mhm.
So typically, I'm in the kitchen. I'm doing the food. She's doing everything else.
Yeah.
So it's like a puzzle piece. And I'm
Mhm.
just I'm that little piece that fits right into
Yeah.
that hole right there.
That's hilarious. All right, before we get you out of here, I do want to hit on a couple of things here. We oftentimes have our chefs tell us how they do this or that, whether it's chicken or brisket, or we've had some influencers on here that do a lot of different things in the kitchen. And when I saw that whole hog the other day, I was like, well, that looks like one that I would definitely be proud to have made myself. Even though you kind of broke apart we talked about that, how you kind of
Uh,
broke apart the pork and such. What's your style with the all natural mindset on making a whole hog? What do you do?
oh well, so whatever I'm doing, whether if I'm brining it, um, I just stick away from the sugars, anything processed. I like to honestly when it comes to me, I just like to use salt and just stick with the basic flavors and
Hmm.
let the meat or the animal speak for itself.
Hmm.
So whether it's the selection of wood I use, I do use the different woods and whatnot, but I let the wood,
Hmm.
the meat speak for themselves. I don't like to when I'm cooking for myself, I don't like to mess with that as in covering it with a lot of different flavors. I like to taste the meat myself.
You mentioned brine. Do you brine the hog?
Oh yeah.
Okay. How do you do that? Because a lot of people do not.
Oh yeah. So with just salt, water, whatever herbs I'm using, instead of sugar. If I'm using sugar at the point, I use honey. At the same time, I do for the neighborhood. There's times where I do hens, so I do a lot of like game hens, and I find those as well. So I just do
poultry. It's very common, obviously, but some people have mixed reviews, mixed feelings on brining the hog. And what kind of smoker do you use? Are you an oak guy? And how long do you usually smoke it?
I use oak, I use pecan, I use mesquite, and when it comes to smoking, what was the it was I want to say I had to get back to you. I can't remember what.
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We can take care of that. And then the other thing I definitely wanted to talk to you about, you mentioned the oils, that you're very particular on that. What are some healthier oils that our listeners can say, hey, I might want to try that, as opposed to some of the things they should not do?
Oh, so I predominantly cook with olive oils, avocado oil, but you don't want to heat olive oil too much because it ruins some of the things that's in there. But coconut oil, I like to use beef tallow, animal fats, butters. I stay away from the nut and seed oils, the canola oil, the vegetable oil, corn oil, and things like that.
And so when you're just kind of circling back to the private chef thing that we were talking about earlier, because I just had a little note that I wrote down and I wanted to ask you about before we get out of here. And that is, you mentioned that you go into a lot of meal prep. What does that entail? I mean, you go into people's homes, prep their meals. Is it bi-weekly, weekly, daily? How do you do that?
So that's a weekly thing. So how that works is we conversate the week prior. And I come up with a menu, or they tell me what they like to see on that menu.
Yeah.
And how that works is it's four different meals. So I let them tailor it to however they see fit, whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, breakfast, lunch, dinner, or just all dinners. So once we decide on the menu, I then send them a grocery list so that whoever does the shopping, they're not double buying. So a few of my clients, I do the shopping for, and what I do is I use a shipped service or whatever delivery service is available in that area, and I schedule the delivery to be within the time frame where 5 to 10 minutes in the time frame where I'm scheduled to be there, so it's not sitting out. And then I get there, cook everything fresh in the kitchen. Box it up, whether it's family style or individual meals, cool it down and leave it in the refrigerator, and then clean everything from top to bottom so that it's like I wasn't there. So all you have to do is worry about is warming your food up, going from there. So
yeah, that's something, man. I mean, it is. I know you're in, and it's going to be something that you're going to be, success. You are successful at. But are there any plans to ever maybe get out of this, or are you just hooked on the private chef route and catering?
There's no plans. I know I don't leave any doors closed.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things that's coming down the chute here in the future for us, so we'll see where that goes.
Good deal. Well, that is Chef Adrian. Dominique is nearby, I'm sure, and you can get a hold of him at inhousechefs.com. Before we let you go, tell me some of the things about the Phoenix journey. I do this just about every week. I have people on, and people in this industry are fantastic. They're always very passionate about, this organization or that organization. Tell me about the Phoenix journey and how people can help.
Oh, the Phoenix journey is nonprofit that's based on helping any and everybody in the autoimmune world, whether they're going through Hashimoto's, rheumatoid arthritis,
Any of those.
or anything that's in the autoimmune world. And what we do is, well, I say we, but she does most of that work. Is point and give resources. So when I say resources, we have on board. There's acupuncturists. There's red light therapy. Well, light therapy in general. There's holistic doctors on board. We have also a gym that actually specializes in helping those with autoimmune diseases. The founder's mother was diagnosed with MS.
Okay.
So he has a heart and a passion to help those with MS and other autoimmune diseases as well.
Fantastic, man. And is there anywhere else that people can get a hold of you if they are interested in one of these things or another, other than inhousechefs.com, just to share that information?
Yes, we're on inhousechefs.com. There's inhousechefs_HTX on Instagram. There's inhouse chefs on Facebook, or you can reach out at 281-318-1784 as well.
Very good. That's Chef Adrian. Really appreciate you joining us. That's very informative, and it's a whole different, so like I said, an arm of the industry that I really haven't covered very much on this podcast. So hopefully people will get that volume 1 of the cookbook, reach out to you, appreciate it, and take some of your advice on these things. Appreciate you joining us. You guys have a fantastic day.
Thank you.
Fantastic week. Fantastic weekend. Smoke it up. We will talk to you next time.
Awesome. Have a great one.